Okay, so get this, right? Have you ever heard of Backrub? Backrub. Yeah, that was Google's original name
Backrub.
back in 1998.
Wow.
Yeah, it sounds, I don't know, kind of funny now, but it actually kind of points to this like ingenious idea that launched, like literally a billion searches.
Yeah, it does seem like almost comical now that you say it out loud, but the name Backrub, I mean, it really reflected their core innovation, right? It was all about analyzing backlinks to understand how important a website actually was, which is like crazy to think about because it's like they were mapping the invisible connections of the internet before anybody else was even thinking about that.
It's true. Like Larry Page and Sergey Brin, they were like PhD students at Stanford, and they were like, they had this mission to build a better search engine.
Yeah.
They just knew there had to be a better way to navigate the web, and boy, were they right.
Yeah, and their breakthrough, like what really set them apart was this thing called PageRank. It was an algorithm, but it wasn't just any algorithm. This thing treated the WAG like this giant network, and it basically said, hey, the more links you have pointing to your website, right, especially from other important websites, the higher you're going to rank in our search results.
Yeah.
And that was like totally revolutionary for the time.
So, I mean, instead of just looking at keywords, they were looking at the web's like structure, like its DNA almost.
Exactly.
It's like no wonder they became the go-to for like finding anything and everything.
Yeah, and they had this real drive to, to make information like accessible and useful for everyone, not just, tech wizards or whatever.
Right. Don't be evil. That was their unofficial motto.
I remember that, yeah.
Really captured their idealistic vision early on. But their rise wasn't just about good intentions. It was also about, they had to outsmart the competition.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the early 2000s, that was like a battleground for search engines. Oh, yeah.
Remember Alta Vista, Lycos, Ask Jeeves, all these names.
Oh, Ask Jeeves.
Yeah, they were all vying for that top spot.
It was like the Wild West of the internet back then.
For sure.
But like Google, they provided a better experience, like plain and simple.
Yeah, their search results, powered by that PageRank algorithm, they were just like more accurate, more relevant. And they kept refining, kept improving constantly. And their interface, it was clean, intuitive. You always knew what you were getting with Google.
And they never rested on their laurels or anything. They were constantly innovating, investing in all this crazy infrastructure to handle the ever-growing amount of data on the web.
Massive.
They were thinking ahead,
Yeah.
acquiring companies. It was strategic.
And that's what set them apart, right? They weren't content with just like winning the search engine game.
Yeah.
They had bigger ambitions. They wanted a connected world. They had a vision, and Google was going to be the one to power it. It's like they pulled off the ultimate trifecta, a game-changing idea, relentless innovation, and this like knack for always anticipating the next big thing.
Yeah, they just had this instinct, and that's when they started building their empire and their first conquest, online advertising.
Oh yeah, the year 2000. Enter AdWords. And like the world of marketing was changed.
Yeah.
Forever. They ditched those like static banner ads and they brought in this pay-per-click model. So they're like connecting businesses with people searching for exactly what they offered.
It was genius. It was like they created this perfect matchmaker for businesses and customers. And AdWords, I mean, it became the foundation of digital marketing, like a cash cow for Google, obviously. But it gave businesses this whole new way to like connect with their target audience, right? Instead of just like throwing ads out into the void and hoping for the best.
So smart. But they didn't stop there. I mean, remember life before Gmail?
Oh, man, I try not to.
Gruff.
Dark days, limited storage, clunky interfaces. I don't miss it.
And then, boom, 2004. Gmail bursts onto the scene and offers, like, what was it at the time? A gigabyte of storage.
It was unheard of.
Which is, like, nothing now.
I know, right? But back then, it was huge.
It was huge.
It was a game changer. I mean, suddenly everyone, and I mean everyone, was switching over. Email was never the same.
They just had this way of taking something so ordinary like email and making it like extraordinary, And then just a year later, they drop another bomb, Google Maps.
Oh, yeah.
Gone were the days of like fumbling with those giant like paper maps and getting lost with terrible directions.
And it's like they took all the stress out of like going new places.
Totally. Google Maps, it literally put the world at our fingertips.
Right.
Like it wasn't just about finding your way around town anymore. Think about like the ripple effect this had.
Yeah.
Suddenly you could explore like distant countries from your couch. You could discover like hidden gems in your own city, It was amazing.
And for businesses, forget about it. It was a revolution. Location-based searches, hyper-targeted ads, being able to see customer reviews and photos all in one place. I mean, come on.
Sure.
It was a game changer. Changed the game completely.
And they weren't slowing down either. In 2006, they dropped, like, what, $1.65 billion to acquire YouTube?
Yeah.
$1.65 billion. That's a power move if I've ever seen one.
Talk about putting your money where your mouth is, right? And it was a gamble for sure, but they just knew how big online video was going to be.
And they were right. I mean, let's be real. Who hasn't spent, like, an entire Saturday afternoon down some YouTube rabbit hole, you know?
All the time.
Become this cultural phenomenon, right? Like a launching pad for people's careers.
Yeah.
A source of entertainment and education for, like, billions of people.
I mean, it's incredible when you think about it.
I know.
It all started with that one bet on the future of online video.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And speaking of bets on the future, we got to talk about, like, this little-known mobile operating system they scooped up back in 2005, Android.
Yeah, Android. It was a quiet acquisition, under the radar.
Right.
But man, did it pay off.
It's crazy to think that, like, they were already, like, laying the groundwork for, like, mobile dominance, before smartphones were even, like, a thing.
Oh, yeah.
That's crazy.
Smartphones were for, like, business people back then.
Exactly. And now look.
Now everybody's got one.
Android powers, like, over 70% of smartphones globally. That's insane.
I know.
It's like this invisible force behind millions of apps connecting people in ways we couldn't have even imagined back then.
And they've done such a good job of, like, weaving their services into that mobile experience, too. Think about it, right? You wake up, you check your Gmail on your phone, you check your Android phone, you're commuting, you're using Google Maps, maybe you're, like, watching a YouTube video while you wait for your coffee. It's a clockwork.
It's like Google's with us, like, every step of the way.
Yeah. They're always there.
It's like a little creepy, but also amazing.
It's true.
I don't know.
But it's convenient, right?
It's very convenient.
Yeah. That's the thing. They've built this, like, seamless ecosystem. Search, ads, email, maps, videos, mobile, all connected.
It's very impressive. But it's not like they have a perfect track record, though, right?
That's true.
Like, Google has definitely had its fair share of stumbles along the way.
Even Google.
Remember Google Wave?
Oh, Google Wave.
Google Glass?
Yeah, Google Glass. I mean, some pretty high-profile flops, for sure.
Google Plus? Anyone remember Google Plus?
I still don't really know what that was.
I still don't really understand what it was supposed to be.
Like, what was it? I don't know.
But it just goes to show that even, like, the most innovative companies, I mean, they make mistakes.
All the time. It's part of the game.
But what's important is that they, like, learn from them and keep pushing the boundaries.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Always be learning, always evolving, right?
It makes you realize that dominance in, like, the tech world, it's not a guarantee. You got to constantly, like, evolve and adapt and be willing to take those risks, even if it means, like, falling flat on your face sometimes.
Absolutely. You got to break some eggs to make an omelet, right?
Exactly. And speaking of pushing boundaries, we got to talk about Google's, like, full-on embrace of AI.
Yeah, they went all in.
They went all in during the 2010s. They poured tons of resources into research with Google Brain. They acquired DeepMind, which is, like, a leading AI company. I mean, it was just AI.
It was huge. I mean, their commitment to AI has led to some, like, truly incredible things. Like, think about how far machine translation has come. Like, language isn't the barrier it used to be. We can thank Google's AI research for, like, a huge part of that.
It's amazing how easily we can communicate with people, like, across the globe now.
Right.
And it's not just translation either. Like, they've made huge strides in speech recognition, image recognition. They're even making self-driving cars a reality with Waymo.
It's like something out of the Jetsons, right?
I know.
But it's real. It's happening.
It's so cool.
It's wild. It's exciting, but it's, it's not all sunshine and roses. Right? There are definitely some big questions that come with all of this. Like, we got to talk about privacy. That's been a big one with Google for a while.
Yeah, it's like that classic dilemma. We all want those personalized experiences, right? Like, we want the tailored recommendations. We want those laser-focused search results. But it's like, they come at a cost.
They do.
It's our data. Our data is what makes all that possible.
It's the fuel, right? Our information fuels these innovations. And look, Google's business model. It's built on data collection.
Mhm.
Our search history, our location data, our emails, the videos we watch, it's all there. And they use it to personalize ads, sure, but also to improve their products.
Right.
And they argue to make our online experiences better, more seamless.
And I mean, and with AI becoming even more like sophisticated and integrated into everything, it's like that data becomes even more valuable,
Yeah.
right? It's not just about like, here's a relevant ad for shoes anymore.
No, it's way beyond that.
It's about understanding like patterns in human behavior, maybe even predicting our needs and like, I don't know, even shaping our opinions. It gets kind of scary when you think about it too much.
It really does. And it's like, how do we balance these incredible advancements with the need for transparency and accountability? Because,
Yeah.
like, do we really know how Google's using all that data, especially now with AI in the mix?
Right, exactly. And then there's the whole issue of control too. Like with one company holding so much power, are we giving up too much control over information, over our digital lives even?
Yeah, it's a valid concern for
Yeah.
sure. And I mean, these concerns, they're not just theoretical, right? Like, they've led to actual antitrust lawsuits and investigations, both in the US and the EU.
Oh, yeah.
Like, Google's been accused of being anti-competitive, using their power to, like, stifle competition and unfairly favor their own products.
Yeah, like that whole thing about how Google prioritizes its own services and search results, even if there are better options out there. It's like, is that really fair?
It's a tough one. Because on the one hand, they've created these amazing tools that we use every day. I mean, I use Google products constantly. But at the same time, that reliance gives them a lot of power.
It does. It's a tough situation. It's like they're walking this really fine line, but like even with all of that going on, Google's still like pushing forward, new frontiers. It's kind of mind-blowing. It's like, what's next for a company that's already conquered search, conquered mobile, and is now like leading the charge in AI?
Where do you go from there? I don't know. Well, one place they're going is quantum computing.
Oh yeah, quantum computing.
They're really investing in it. They even made headlines a few years ago with their quantum computer Sycamore, and they claim to achieve quantum supremacy.
Okay, I have to be honest. Quantum computing still feels a little bit like science fiction to me.
I know, it's a lot to wrap your head around. Basically, it's a whole new type of computing that uses these crazy laws of quantum mechanics to do these calculations that regular computers, even supercomputers, could never do.
Okay, so like for the average person, what does that even mean? Like, how could quantum computing change our lives?
Oh man, the potential is massive. We're talking about revolutionizing medicine, material science, even cryptography. Like, imagine designing drugs that are tailored to your specific DNA, or creating entirely new materials with properties we never thought possible.
Now that's the future I want to live in.
It's exciting stuff. And it really seems like, for Google at least, a lot of it comes down to solving some of humanity's biggest challenges. That's a big part of what's driving a lot of their work right now. Like, look at their work with Calico, their research company focused on aging.
Right, they're tackling aging, trying to like cure age-related diseases. It's like next level stuff.
It's incredibly ambitious. They're using their expertise in AI, data analysis, even robotics, all to understand how aging works at its core and maybe, just maybe, extend the human lifespan.
It sounds like a sci-fi movie, but it's real. It's
Mm-mm.
actually happening. Makes you wonder, like, what will the world look like in 50 years,
Yeah.
100 years? Will we have cracked the aging code? Will AI be our buddies?
I don't know. It's exciting and a little bit scary all at the same time.
Right.
And we haven't even talked about their work in sustainability. Google's been getting more and more vocal about, their commitment to the environment. They're setting these really ambitious goals for carbon neutrality using renewable energy, which is huge for them considering how much energy data centers use.
There's a massive amount of energy.
Massive. But they're putting their money where their mouth is, investing in renewable energy projects, coming up with tools to help other companies be more sustainable. They're even pushing for policies to support a greener future. It seems like they're finally realizing, they have to be part of the solution, not the problem.
Yeah. It's a huge responsibility. It's
Yeah.
like they're building this multifaceted legacy. They've changed how we access information, how we communicate, how we navigate our world.
Right.
But the more their influence grows, the more we have to ask those tough questions about their role in society,
It's a conversation that's not going away.
Not at all.
But that's the thing about Google, right? Their story, just like technology itself, it's still being written. It's a story of crazy innovation, huge ambition, and a undeniable impact on the world.
Absolutely.
But it's also a story that forces us to ask these really, really hard questions about power, about responsibility, and about the kind of future we're creating.
It's a lot to unpack. But, that's what I love about a good deep dive, right?
Absolutely.
It leaves you with more to think about,
Yeah.
like long after the conversation's over.
It gets those wheels turning.
It does. It gets those wheels
It
turning.
makes you think.
Exactly.
And hopefully it makes you want to learn more and be a part of the conversation.
Yes. And to our listeners, thank you so much for diving in with us today. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep those brains engaged.
So well said.
This has been amazing. I always learn so much from our conversations. Thank you for doing this.
It's my pleasure. I always enjoy it.
Awesome. Well, until next time.
See ya.